Hey, it's the Worth Playboy.
And my Playboys Bunny.
Welcome to our podcast where we discuss pickup, game, relationships, and
sex.
And we're going to talk about sex and the repercussions of sex today. So we've talked about girls with high body counts and how they kind of process things mentally, and how guys take different approaches. Like you have the whole gamut of. And let's talk about experienced guys in the first place.
Okay.
Guys with high levels of experience. You can put a girl that has like 50, 60, 100 guys behind her. And on one end, you've got guys that will like freak.
Yeah.
They still feel that they should marry a virgin. And that's okay. I mean, whatever they decide. And then on the other end is you have guys that have, for either through the way they're made up or through experience or they just are older and have seen more.
Yeah.
It's really irrelevant to them.
Right.
Does that make sense? As long as the girl is mentally healthy. But a gentleman reached out to me and had seen our podcasts and tweets about this. And he said that the younger guys that he knows and he himself, they have a lower experience. Like a lot of them are virgins.
Yeah.
A lot of them have like one or two girls that they've had sex with. And that the thought of a girl having a high notch count, and what I always try to convey is girls, if they've had sex with you and then they're like a year or two later they meet up with you and they're with their new boyfriend, they're not thinking about all the hot sex you had. Girls don't really remember stuff. It's how they always tell you that their notch count is different.
Yeah.
Because a lot of sex they don't count.
Right.
You know? So they just block it out. So therefore, you know, he said that when he was talking to these guys across the board, mentally, they got very angry.
Right.
And so the question is, how do you deal with that? So I'm saying that there's either going to be one of two things.
Mm-hmm.
The guys can become more experienced, and it kind of extinguishes that jealousy. Because they get to know women better.
Right.
You know what I mean? When women are this other thing, and they're kind of on a pedestal, but 50 guys have had sex with her before. You know, it upsets guys.
Sure.
I get that. And they imagine the scenarios, and it's bad. Guys' imagination is their worst enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Know? And on the other end, a guy could kind of try to focus in on the more less experienced girls.
Yeah.
And that might be a better match.
Well, yeah, because I would say this in this question in particular, or just less experienced guys, everything's relative, because to a guy who's either a virgin or has only had sex with one or two girls, her notch count being more than two is a lot. I mean, even 5 to a man who is a virgin or up to 2 partners, even her having 5 guys run through her in any way, shape, and form would boggle the mind. So we're not even talking about that it has to be 100. It could be, I mean, I don't think those two would even run in the same circles.
And that gives you, and that's from me being out here for so long.
Sure.
But when you do look at younger guys with less experience, I mean, 5 to a guy who's had one, there might as well be a line out the door.
And an important point that we talk about quite a bit, but bears witness here also, is that guys also vastly underestimate the difference in how much work it takes for a man to sleep with a woman versus a woman to sleep with a man. A man, he has to work for that one. He has to work for that one notch. It's a long tail plan. Women can be available. And that's really all it takes. I mean, honest to God, that's all it takes.
So therefore, there's been less mental, what would you say, investment?
I'm saying time investment.
Very interesting.
I'm talking about time investment.
Yeah,
I'm
because
saying
you do.
She could have 5 notches in the same amount it takes him to get that one nailed down.
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
So, I mean, I think whenever guys with, let's say, 1 or 2 notch counts are comparing, that they just found out that the girl they're interested in has already slept with 5 guys, and he's like, My God. I mean, that's
How
a
do you-
lot of investment.
When it really wasn't.
It really wasn't.
She just showed up.
Yeah.
She was at a party.
Now, make no mistake. I do feel like most girls with low notch counts like that, like I would say 5 or below. You know, I would say that for the most part, those girls aren't fucking randos for the
No.
most part, unless they're just getting started and
Exactly.
going hard.
Yeah.
But girls with a low notch count are still being very particular. They're
Yes.
quote unquote boyfriends. You know, it's not usually a random or a fly by night, you know, hookup.
It's true that girls that are hitting the ground, about to get a lot of experience,
Yeah.
will generally be seeking out high experience guys.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, make no mistake, by happenstance, you may be the right guy in the right place at the right time.
Right.
But generally, they're looking for somebody who's going to lead them right into it.
And if anything, I would be cautious and very wary of girls who seem to have more experience as a lower experienced guy, because if she's showing you interest, it's probably more along the lines of she's trying to nail you down for marriage because she thinks you're a good potential husband, not necessarily because she has any desire to have sex with you.
Interesting.
But purely mercenary.
They can't help it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because that's one of Rollo's, you know, classic where he walks, you know, a girl's progress. She goes through the epiphany phase in the late 20s.
Yeah.
And then no matter how much cock she's ridden, what decisions she's made before 28 or 29, now she starts looking for a provider.
Right.
You know, and the guys that are providers have been in school.
Right.
Or engineering.
Yes, good point.
They've got their master's degree and they've met like 3 girls.
They're
you know,
med school, yeah.
Exactly.
Seriously.
So, and you see a lot of cartoons, but this is bringing it full circle.
Yeah, it
That's
definitely
good, Bunny.
is.
Yeah. So if you have low experience, and Bunny and I agree with her, seek out girls with low experience.
Yeah.
You know, it's birds of a feather.
And I would say it's actually more fun that way too. Because then, number one, you feel like a little bit of the pressure may be off a little bit. And you're both kind of a little bit more open to learning together. It's kind of a fun, I'm trying to think of a good comparison. But it's almost like those first few relationships where sex is still kind of a new, fresh thing. You get to be honest about that and be like, I saw this.
Yeah.
That could be kind of hot.
Yeah.
Do you want to try it? Like, do you think we would enjoy it? And then you kind of dabble with it.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
And to balance these things out, because you're going to meet a lot of girls.
Yeah.
The interesting thing and the wonderful thing about women is if she has more experience and she knows you don't, she will tab a lot of this stuff down.
Yes, 1,000%.
And a girl that likes you, she's never going to let you feel inferior.
No.
You know, it's not going to come up.
Right.
You know, so that's the interesting thing with girls is they calibrate themselves
Completely.
to the guy in front of them.
1,000%.
Yeah, so either way, you're winning.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. I would say here would be a good place to put my, Instant Self-Confidence with Women book. If you haven't picked it up, I think it could help guys who have it's not specific to sex. It's more specific to just showing more confidence, faking it till you make it. It's 25 steps, and it really is stuff that you can try to change everything all at once, or you can just use the tools one at a time or in small groups as you feel like you need to help. But they'll help you get closer to feeling more confident, and hopefully with the idea that will ease your mind a little bit and allow you to better approach women, to feel more sexually confident even without a bunch of experience. It goes a long way. And I will say, before we stop, if you're a guy with low notch count, even the girls that you have slept with, if possible, keep fucking them. Because even if it's only 2 girls, let's say, if you can fuck them 100 times, that's a lot of experience. So, you still get more confident and you learn more things and you learn more of what you like and what girls respond to in practice.
It's true. And that's the thing, like with Bunny said, they're guys, younger guys and less experienced are very idealistic. But having like a friend with benefits or a fuck buddy,
yeah,
that's how you learn. You know what I mean? You guys may not end up getting married, but it's a nice casual relationship that you both get something out of.
Right.
Right.
But even if you're not of the mindset to have a fuck buddy or like a casual sexual meetup person, still practice as much as possible. Absolutely. On the ones that you have available, on the girlfriends that you have.
Good point.
Yeah. We want you to win. Bye.